good evening. You're watching Express News with me, Nancy Kohli. Let's take a look at the top stories of the day. Members of the European Parliament called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi today. The Prime Minister appreciated the importance the parliamentarians attached to their relationship with India by visiting the right at the beginning of their term. Prime Minister Modi, while welcoming the delegation to India, expressed hope that they have a fruitful visit to various parts of the country, including to Jammu and Kashmir. The Prime Minister said that their visit to Jammu and Kashmir should give the delegation a better understanding of the cultural and religious diversity of the region of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh, apart from giving them a clear view of the development and the governance priorities of the region. The Prime Minister mentioned about the success of key programs of the government, including the Swachh Bharat and the Ayushman Bharat. He reiterated India's commitment to eliminating tuberculosis by 2025, 5 years before the global target. Prime Minister Modi highlighted the importance of close international cooperation to fighting the menace of terror. The Prime Minister also said that an early conclusion of a fair and balanced broad-based trade and investment agreement is a priority for the government. Prime Minister Modi highlighted a huge jump in India's position in the ease of doing business rankings from 142 in 2014 to 63 currently. He said that this is a massive achievement for a country as enormous in size, demography and diversity as India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Saudi Arabia on 28th-29th October, where he will deliver the keynote address at the third session of the Future Investment Initiative, the FII Forum in Riyadh. The visit is expected to further cement the strategic partnership between the two countries. The FII is also known as the Davos of the Desert. The third FII session is organized under the Vision 2030, which is a blueprint for economic transformation of Saudi Arabia through diversification of its oil-based economy and is aimed at working alongside the global strategic partners and investment managers. Several initiatives are being undertaken by Saudi Arabia to fulfill the vision. Under its Vision 2030, Saudi Arabia has selected 8 countries for forging strategic partnership. These include India, China, the UK, the US, France, Germany, South Korea and Japan. Prime Minister Modi, who is visiting the Saudi Kingdom on the invitation of King Salman, will also hold bilateral talks with him during the visit. An agreement on Strategic Partnership Council is expected to be signed during the visit. The council will be headed by the Prime Minister himself from the Indian side and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia from the other side. An MOU is likely to be signed during the visit to launch the RuPay card in Saudi Arabia, which will be very useful for not only the large Indian community but also Hajj and the Umrah pilgrims. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis met the Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari in Mumbai today. The meeting was aimed at extending Diwali greetings to the Governor. In Maharashtra, hectic parleys are underway to finalize the contours of the government formation. The BJP Shiv Sena alliance has an absolute majority in the Maharashtra Assembly. Prime Minister Modi has said that his prayers are with the young and brave 2-year toddler who was trapped in a bowel at Nadukatupati village in Trichy for more than 70 hours, even as the marathon rescue operations were on to rescue him. Prime Minister Modi tweeted saying, "My prayers are with the young and brave Sujit Wilson," spoke to the Chief Minister, EPS Tamil Nadu, regarding the rescue efforts underway to save Sujit. "Every effort is being made to ensure that he is safe," quote unquote. India takes up the matter of Pakistan's denial of airspace clearance for the VVIP special flight with the concerned International Civil Aviation Body, asked Pakistan to reflect upon its decision to deviate from established international practice. Central Vigilance Commission, the CVC, is observing the Vigilance Awareness Week from today onwards till the 2nd of November. The theme is Integrity, a Way of Life. This is observed every year during the week in which the birthday of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel falls, that is on the 31st of October. On the occasion of the Vigilance Awareness Week, the Central Vigilance Commissioner Sharad Kumar administered the Integrity Pledge to the officers and the staff of the Central Vigilance Commission. This year, the Vigilance Awareness Week is being observed from 28th October to the 2nd of November with the theme Integrity, a Way of Life. Central Vigilance Commissioner Sharad Kumar outlined the various outreach and the media campaigns being organized by the Commission to create awareness among the public. A layer of haze on one of the national capital post Diwali as city's air quality has plummeted to the severe category for the first time this season. According to the Ministry of Earth Sciences, air quality monitors suffer the levels of the particulate matter 2.5, that's the tiny particulate matter of diameter 2.5 or less than 2.5 microns that can enter into deep lungs, reached as high as 735 at Delhi University. And situation in Mumbai is not as intense as compared to Delhi, but the air quality witnessed a marginal spike in pollution levels during Diwali night. The locals in Mumbai breathed easy this year with major pollutants, particulate matter 2.5 and PM10 docking at 32 and 43 respectively in the Haji Ali area, levels which come in good category as per the Air Quality Index data. The first ever of its kind Common Foundation course for civil service probationers is being held at the Statue of Unity. The program named Arambh symbolizes the beginning of this type of training and also marks the beginning of new character commitment and the conduct for the probationers. Prime Minister Modi will address the probationers during the closing session on 31st October. World Bank President David Malpass said that India's goal of becoming a $5 trillion economy is achievable with strong economic reforms. While addressing the inaugural session of Arambh at the tent city in Kevadia in Gujarat, the World Bank president said that for the third year in a row, India was among the top 10 performers. Besides that, he also said that India's growth will depend on the productivity and the livability of its cities. The program Arambh is first of its kind Common Foundation course for civil services of India 2019 batch. In a unique gesture to mark Sikhism founder Guru Nanak Dev's 550th Gurpurab celebrations, Air India has put the Sikhs' religious symbol Ek Omkar on its aircraft tail. Ek Omkar symbol is a central tenet of Sikh religious philosophy. The national carrier has put the religious symbol on its Boeing 787 aircraft that will fly on 31st of October from Amritsar to the UK. Bullion markets in the national capital are closed today for Diwali Bali Pratipada. The wholesale commodity markets along with metal and bullion are also shut. The forex and commodity futures markets are also closed today. The Indian capital markets witnessed a net inflow of over 3,800 crore rupees by the foreign portfolio investors, the FPI, in October so far. This came after the government had taken steps to revive the domestic demand coupled with the positive global cues. FPIs have been net buyers for the second consecutive month. The Reserve Bank of India has clarified it has neither sold gold from its reserves nor is trading in the yellow metal. The RBI stated that the fluctuation in its gold reserve values was due to change in the revaluation frequency that depends on international prices of gold and exchange rates. Reports have appeared in certain sections of the media that the RBI has been selling or trading in the gold of late. The Reserve Bank of India has imposed a penalty of 35 lakh rupees on Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank for violating norms on frauds, classification and notification. The bank has been penalized for non-compliance with certain provisions of directions issued by the RBI. The centre has given the environment a clearance of 819 crore rupees water metro project that aims to provide better connectivity of islands around Kochi with the mainland. The Union Environment Ministry has given the final environment clearance to the proposed project after taking into account the view of its green panel. Transactions using India's own domestic payments platform Unified Payments Interface or the UPI hit a landmark of 1 billion in October, that's 3 years after its launch. Petrol and diesel prices were kept unchanged as existing rates today, marking a second straight day of pause in the rates following 3 consecutive days of reduction. The Japanese aviation giant All Nippon Airways launched direct service between Chennai and Tokyo. With the new service, Chennai has become the first city in South India to have the flight connectivity to the Narita International Airport in Tokyo. Vikas Mehta, the CEO of Mullen Lintas, has decided to move on from Mullen Lintas Group after working there for 15 long years. HSBC has said its performance in parts of Europe and the US is not acceptable as the bank reported a drop in the third quarter profits. Europe's largest bank said profit before tax fell 18% to $4.8 billion in the 3 months to September. Unemployment and sluggish economic growth are fueling social tensions and several protests in Arab countries, the International Monetary Fund has said. Dreaded terrorist group Islamic State of Iraq and Syria chief Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was killed in a secret US Special Forces raid in the northwest Syria. And confirming the news, the US President Donald Trump said that the elusive leader of the ruthless ISIS and the world's #1 terrorist has been killed in a daring nighttime raid by the US forces. And Donald Trump has said that capturing or killing Baghdadi, the founder and the leader of Islamic State, has been the top national security priority of his administration. He said no US troops were killed in the operation, but a number of Baghdadi's followers were also eliminated. And the news of Baghdadi's killing has drawn reactions from leaders of various nations. Iranian Information Minister Mohammad Javad Azari Jahromi tweeted in response to Trump's post saying, "Not a big deal, you just killed your creature." And Turkish President Erdogan also reacted to the news. He said on Twitter, I quote, "The killing of Daesh's ringleader marks a turning point in our joint fight against terror. Turkey will continue to support the anti-terror efforts as it has done in the past. I am confident that a decisive struggle against terrorism in line with the spirit of alliance will bring peace to all of humanity," quote unquote. And British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has also said on Twitter, "The death of Baghdadi is an important moment in a fight against terror, but the battle against the devil of Daesh is not yet over." Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu congratulated US President Donald Trump. He said that this reflects the united resolve of the free countries led by the United States to fight the forces of terror, the terror organizations and the terrorist states. While the Trump administration has hailed the death of al-Baghdadi, Russia doubted it and European leaders warned that the fight against terrorism is far from being over. The Russian Defense Ministry said it does not have reliable information on the US operation in the Idlib de-escalation zone in Syria that allegedly killed Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. In Britain, MPs are due to vote later on the government's call to have an election on 12th December. Boris Johnson said if the motion is approved, his Brexit bill would resume its progress through Parliament until that is dissolved on 6th November. Two-thirds of the MPs would have to back the motion for it to pass under the laws which sets the election timings. Hong Kong anti-government protests have entered its 21st straight weekend. Protesters set shops to fire and hurled petrol bombs after police fired tear gas to clear the rally. The protesters denounced perceived police brutality during more than 4 months of often violent unrest in the city. Several hundred police and their supporters demonstrated in the Haiti's capital for better salaries for law enforcement. Anti-government marchers also took to the streets demanding President Jovenel Moise's resignation. And with the country's general election just 2 weeks away, tens of thousands of unionists took to the streets in Barcelona to protest against the Catalan separatism and call for unity in Spain. Protesters rallied into the night across Lebanon with legendary singer Marshall Khalifa showing his support in Sidon, pressing a historic wave of demonstrations against political leaders blamed for corruption and steering the country towards economic collapse. 4 Iraqi parliamentarians have resigned in anger at the government's perceived failure to respond to mass protests, piling more pressure on embattled Prime Minister Adel Abdel Mahdi. Rallies demanding an overhaul of the ruling regime have knocked Iraq this month, defying live rounds, tear gas and other violence that have left more than 200 people dead. In Chile, the President Sebastián Piñera has dismissed his whole cabinet in order to form a new government and introduce social reforms demanded by protesters. He also announced that a curfew imposed in cities across Chile a week ago had been lifted. California's governor has declared a statewide emergency due to the unprecedented high winds that have led to the Kincade fire in the state. The blaze has destroyed dozens of houses and wineries, including the iconic Soda Rock winery built in 1869. Bushfire at California's Solano County threatened residents to evacuate, leaving some homes without power. 2 fires were reported in Vallejo, shutting down part of the highway. 14 families in Vietnam's central provinces have reported their relatives missing after 39 people were found dead in a refrigerated truck in the British county of Essex. 39 bodies, including 8 women and 31 men, were found on Wednesday in a refrigerated lorry container traveling to Britain from the Belgian port of Zeebrugge. Former Argentine Chief of the Cabinet of Ministers Alberto Fernandez was elected as the country's new president according to the results of Sunday's elections. In addition to the new president, the election also selected a vice president, 130 members of the Chamber of Deputies and 24 senators. Argentina's ousting President Mauricio Macri conceded the race and congratulated Fernandez. He said he had invited Fernandez to the presidential palace to discuss an orderly transition, which is seen as essential for Argentina's shaky economy and the markets. The voting to choose country's new president concluded in Uruguay with no outright winner. Daniel Martinez and Luis Lacalle could not manage to get 50% of the votes, which called for a runoff between the two on 24th November. South Korea has proposed talks with North Korea to resolve the Mount Kumgang matter, Seoul's Unification Ministry has said. Mount Kumgang, located on the north's eastern shore just beyond the heavily fortified border separating the two Koreas, is one of two major inter-Korean economic initiatives along with the Kaesong Factory Park. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi issued a decree to extend the country's already imposed state of emergency for another 3 months. Indonesian President Joko Widodo visited the Arfak Mountains in West Papua province. Widodo told media that the government will build nearly 140 kilometers of roads and a new airport in the Arfak Highlands to help residents transport agricultural products. Cambodian authorities and 8 volunteer divers search for 21-year-old British woman Amelia Bambridge, missing for 5 days from its southwestern coast, which is popular with backpackers. Korong Islands governor led the search operation. The U.S. expert in security issues Stephen P. Cohen passed away on Sunday at 83. The American political scientist and the professor of security studies had pioneered research into strategic and defense issues related to India and Pakistan. In Indonesia, school children inspired from Greta Thunberg gathered on road to call for shunning the use of plastic bags. The children used plastic to make puppets which teach to not use plastic. An old painting, Christ mocked off a 13th century Italian master Cimabue, is sold for 24 million euros, which is 4 times more than the pre-auction estimate. The painting was found in the kitchen of an elderly French woman. Russia's Nati State Equestrian Drama Theatre in Caucasus Republic of North Ossetia has opened its doors for the first time since 2006. It was closed due to financial crisis and the loss of 7 of its performers who were struck in avalanche. Scientists at the University of Richmond in Virginia discovered in a study that rodent brains are much more capable than previously thought. They trained 6 female and 11 male rats to drive cars and collect food during the research. Mexicans gathered on streets for a pre-Day of the Dead parade. They wore colorful costumes and face paint to disguise themselves as the iconic Mexican skeleton figure known as La Catrina. La Catrina was created by Mexican cartoonist Jose Guadalupe Posada. Researchers in the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the US have developed new technology to capture carbon dioxide from a stream of air. The research may pave the way for new strategies to reduce the atmospheric greenhouse gas levels. In Singapore, an exhibition devoted to sugary milk tea drink is catching eyeballs. The photogenic bubble tea factory showcases from pool of pink balls to a reclining hospital bed with a bubble-colored drip. Mask artist Yusuf Abagond has shared his video in which he's seen working on his latest project in Nigeria. He wears mask while painting. Papua New Guinea and Ireland on Sunday qualified for the ICC T20 World Cup Australia 2020. This is the first time that Papua New Guinea qualified for the Men's T20 World Cup. Papua New Guinea achieved the feat by defeating Kenya. Opening batsman David Warner becomes 3rd Australian to score centuries in all the 3 formats. He achieved the feat in the first T20 of the 3-match series against Sri Lanka. Feeling overloaded, Bangladesh wicketkeeper batsman Mushfiqur Rahim has decided to give up his duties behind the stumps in Test cricket to prolong his career across the formats. Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar has revealed that midfielder Paul Pogba is likely to be out until December as he continues to recover from an ankle injury. Indian men's double player Chirag Shetty and Satvik Sairaj Ranki Reddy put up a valiant effort in the final of the French Open but lost to the top-seeded Indonesian pair 21-18, 21-16 on Sunday. Ahead of FIH Olympic qualifiers clash against India, the Russian men's team arrived in Bhubaneswar. When the Indian side had last met Russia during the FIH series finals, India had beaten them 10-0. South Africa defeated Wales 19-16 on Sunday to enter the final of the ongoing Rugby World Cup at the Nissan Stadium in Yokohama. With this win, South Africa will now face England in the summit clash. West Indies have announced a 14-member squad for the first two Women's One Day International against India next month, recalling the season Shemaine Campbell and Chidian Nation. The fast bowler Shamnasha Hector and all-rounder Alia Allen are two new faces in the team. Hamilton wins Mexican Grand Prix but waits for the sixth title. He claimed his 10th win of the season for Mercedes at the Mexican Grand Prix and 83rd of his career. Salah fires Liverpool to comeback win over Spurs. Mohamed Salah claimed the 50th on-field goal of his Liverpool career from the penalty spot as the Premier League leaders restored their 6-point advantage at the top of the table. Granada moved top of La Liga on Sunday with a 1-0 victory over Real Betis that continues a magical start to the season, while Sevilla and Real Sociedad joined the group of 4 teams just a point behind the surprise leaders. Mauro Icardi and Kylian Mbappe both scored twice as Paris Saint-Germain demolished their old rivals Marseille 4-0 and allowed the reigning champions to extend their lead at the top of League One. South Korea's Jang Hyun-na clinched the inaugural BMW Ladies Championship in a nail-biting finale showdown with Daniel Kang on Sunday, edging the American on home turf in a 3-hole playoff. India bowling coach Bharat Arun confirmed that seamer Jasprit Bumrah is unlikely to undergo a surgery for his back injury that has kept him out of action for a while. The decision was made after the cricketer travelled to London along with the NCA's chief physio. Borussia Mönchengladbach Football Club reclaimed Bundesliga lead from Bayern Munich with a 4-2 home win over Frankfurt. Roger Federer clinched a record-extending 10 Swiss Indoors Championship title in his hometown of Basel with a crushing 6-2, 6-2 victory over Australia's Alex de Minaur on Sunday. The 38-year-old Swiss has now 103 singles titles in his career and the record win in Basel. Two-time Grand Slam winner Naomi Osaka started her 2019 WTA Finals campaign in style as she saw off the threat of world number 6 Petra Kvitova 7-6, 4-6, 6-4 in a thrilling encounter in Shenzhen. Osaka edged a tight first set on a tie break before losing the second set despite leading as Kvitova drew the match level. In the other match in that group, number 1 seed Ashley Barty recovered from a set down to beat the 7th seed Belinda Bencic 5-7, 6-1, 6-2 in just under 2 hours, and with it guaranteed that she will end the year as world number 1. Actress Richa Chadda, soon to be featured in the movie Panga. She will be sharing the screen with Kangana Ranaut, who will be seen playing the role of a kabaddi player in the movie. Director Sanjay Leela Bhansali to direct the Baiju Bawra, which is a musical saga. The film is to hit the screens on Diwali in 2021. Multi-star movie Houseful 4 collected 18 crore rupees on the first day of its release. Akshay Kumar, Kriti Sanon, Kriti Kharbanda and Sunny Deol are the star cast of the movie. Bobby Deol that was. Movie San Ki Aankh is struggling in the box office with its collection of just 50 lakh rupees on the first day. It featured Taapsee Pannu and Bhumi Pednekar in the lead role. Sports drama movie Bijil has crossed 100 crores in just 3 days after its release. The film is the collaboration of director Atli and Vijay. Ant-Man and the Wasp star Michael Douglas said he is surviving cancer. The actor is undergoing intensive treatment of tongue cancer. Great musician Kurt Cobain's cardigan sold for $334,000 in New York. The sale of the garment is part of the Icons and Idols rock and roll auction held by Julian's Auctions. Holt McCallany is set to share screen with Jason Statham in the thriller film Cash Truck. The film is a remake of the French movie Les Conveneurs. British actress Phoebe Waller-Bridge has been honored with the Britannia Award for British Artist of the Year in the Beverly Hills. Phoebe is the creator of Amazon Studios' Fleabag. Todd Phillips' directorial Joker has bagged the first position, leaving behind Maleficent. The film earned $18 million in the first week of its release. And singer and songwriter Elton John has called off his Indianapolis concert due to illness. He posted his apologies on Twitter and said he's extremely unwell. Director David Lynch and actress Geena Davis, along with others, received the Oscar award at a ceremony in Los Angeles. Davis urged Hollywood filmmakers to take initiatives to address gender inequality. And with that, it's a wrap on the Express News for the moment. Thanks for being with us.